Hello, hello. What are you doing? Well, as you know, I just finished a Valentine's makeup thing. And then I said I was going to do another video, and this is why. I was telling those stories and things, and it really made a lot of things pop up. And this one I felt was a little more important than the other ones. Just because, I like to tell people what to do and how to act. No, I don't really. But I do have suggestions. Um, Let us chat with Jen. Chat with me, guys. Seriously. Okay. I know, I've mentioned several times. Oh, man. Sorry, I just heard a sound. The way we react with people is so important. Boy, did I get that challenge. Just like, boom, the other day. I want to share a very recent situation that happened. And it gave me such an opportunity to put that into use. How reactions and these things that I've been studying up on. Then it was time to put it into action. I know I'm repeating myself. I'm excited. So someone close to me got seriously hurt, upset by something my husband said. So while I was trying to discuss the next steps and what we had coming up to get done, this was after the incident, and we were texting at this time. The responses I received were full of negativity, throwing angry vibes my way. So I just texted back, "Okay, I think you're tired and I don't feel good. Talk to you later." So I did see them a couple of days later, and I was treading lightly. I was watching her body language, trying to get a read on her where she was at. And I could read in her body language the angst. What I'm calling angst is like anxiety. You're in a situation or at a place you really don't want to be, so you get the angst about it. So I could almost feel her energy was so negative. And maybe a little bit of fear in there. I don't know where the fear would come from, but it's just the vibes I was getting. Excuse me. Then I remembered the video I did on reactions. So I checked in with myself first. I thought in my mind back to that video, okay, how should I handle this? How should I react to this? And I didn't say anything. Because, one, I don't know where she is, where she's at. Two, I don't know anything she is feeling about things. So I look and observe for evidence of how she may be thinking or feeling. Did she look angry? What was her body posture like? Things like that. And not all of us can read body language, but there are some videos and tips that you can pick up on. I did not want to say anything to make her feel attacked, as most may feel in that way. So in other words, if I had a bad experience at somebody's house and somebody offended me or whatever, if I had to go back there, I probably would be apprehensive. I probably might have different thoughts in my mind about what had happened the last time. That might be very fresh in my mind, almost as if it's going to happen again. So those are the things I was thinking about before I responded. So nothing was really said. We went about what we had to do. And after a while, I just said, You know, sometimes my husband can get emotional like we can. I waited a few minutes or a few seconds, and then I said, if he said or did something wrong. Now, the reason I had an idea of what it was because my husband told me after she left that night that he had said something about how something got changed and he didn't sound too happy about it. Well, I was there at the time the incident happened, but I didn't take it as though he was chastising anybody, so I didn't think anything of it. But now, with this person here, I'm having to face this, and so I decide to just be still, just listen, I kind of had an idea of what it might be, but I didn't want to be the one to bring it up because maybe she wasn't even thinking about it at that time. So it's kind of when you have a problem with somebody, try to tread lightly. Try to watch how you react because they may be afraid to tell you in fear of your reaction or in fear of retaliation. Okay, so be confident enough to withstand that because they do have a right to tell you what's wrong. So while talking, she told me how it felt and what she was thinking. And see, I brought it out by guessing. I just said, well, maybe this was, you know, you know, it can be tricky. So while she was talking, my reaction was to keep my mouth shut and be present. In other words, giving her my attention, full attention. I wasn't looking off. I wasn't writing things down for my next video. I wasn't playing on my phone. Full attention. I didn't defend him or say he didn't mean it. That can belittle a person that has strong feelings about something. Did you know that? To a wounded person, these words can feel like you are not listening, or you're trying to say that what they feel isn't justified. So at these times, I feel like the emotional hurt that they are feeling is the most important thing in the room. It's not about me. It's not about my husband. It's about how you feel in my home. And because I reacted this way, I watched her body language just totally change. It was amazing. She relaxed, and then she came and hugged me. So, with that response from her, it also strengthened me in feeling like I reacted appropriately, and I felt really good about that. So, something that could have turned into something that would separate our friendship, we reversed it. Totally. I also felt great knowing she was feeling better. And then, after a bit, when everything was better, I said in a joking way, lighthearted way, you just got butt hurt. And then she laughed and agreed. So see, I didn't have to yell. I didn't have to force my point. I didn't have to argue with her. When a person's in a better place or sees exactly where you're coming from and felt heard and that they mattered, that their feelings mattered, and then I kept the mood light and was able to say that in a joking way and acknowledging, in a way I was acknowledging the way I saw it, but wasn't belittling her. So what I learned from that, and I hope someone else benefits from my experience in this. I know I did. I learned from this. We do have choices. We do need to listen to others. It matters to them. So even if we don't like to hear the words, be kind, etc., I don't like those words either. I like be real is a better term. We can all be decent humans. Now, a couple of days ago, I mentioned about some calling upset, out of control women as Karen. Now, I may or may not have some insight as to why some can appear that way to others. And I really feel that the term Karen certainly doesn't apply to every woman out there that is disagreeing with you or has their own valid point to make. And when you're disrespecting them and putting them on camera, actually you're the worst one. You're acting worse than they are. Did you know that? Remember this. All of us are going through things. Many are hurting or have been hurt in many ways. And they are outing their pent-up emotions that they haven't been able to deal with. We all have different views, perspectives, and opinions. But add to that, different generations also grow up with different sets of boundaries than others. So when older generations are learning about life when they were younger, they were made to respect and always do what the elder person told you to do. So they all took that and understand that in their own way. So they, as elders now, expect to be revered in the same ways. Well, they're not. So when they don't have that influence or effect with people, they're not respected in their own way, the way they perceive it should be, especially the younger generation. It is going against the very core of their belief system. Do you get that? Going against the very core of their belief system. In my own opinion, because they now see the world from that perspective, they're already hurt and or on the defensive. There's also those that will go on the offensive as if they feel that's necessary to get out there first as a defensive mechanism. Head off the potential problem before it starts, if you will. So to me, if someone comes right out of the gate yelling about where I parked on how they perceive they've been mistreated in some way, I just stop and listen. If they persist or look like they're going to do something to me or harm me in some way, I have, and I take the walk away option. Obviously, they didn't need someone to listen. They needed to use me as an object designed to take the brunt of emotions she's feeling to feel better. This may be a person that was never listened to in their life. They've never had their feelings justified, and now they're out of control. Maybe, probably, in my opinion, they have not been heard either, currently or in the past. That's what I just said. They have a constant feeling that nobody cares. They've given too much of themselves, maybe. They've done the job you're now doing, and resent that you're still younger and reminds them of something. So then here comes the trigger. Something to complain about. How they're treated then matters. I've worked fast food, and I see these videos all the time where people are getting crazy in there. Whether it's made up for show or whatever, it's stupid. I worked for fast food, and I worked at DQ. DQ was my favorite, and a grocery store, and my old lock and key business. You don't think I had to deal with impossible customers? Right. People that tried to rob me. But they're not on YouTube. Not. And that's for a reason. You gotta respect people. Even when they're at their worst. Retail is hard. And most of us are underpaid. Seen as the lackeys in the world, can't get a better job. I get it. I really do. Here's how I dealt with out-of-control customers, and this is my favorite. At the deli, I told you I worked at the grocery store. A woman that absolutely everyone in town disliked. No business wanted to have her as a customer. Well, one night, she brought me a beef roast, but she needed the meat cutter to cut up. I told her, of course, I'll be happy to handle that for you. She wasn't happy. She gave me a dirty look. I don't know, she thought I was mocking her. I don't know what she thought. I was sincere. And when I opened the package she handed me, the roast was raw. I explained to her that the meat needed to be cooked in order for the meat cutter to do that. She yells at me, "They do this for me all the time." A crowd is gathering now because they all know her. And I don't know if they're just waiting to see how I respond or what she does, but they're watching. I just stood there listening to her rant. I tried to hand the roast back to her. She wasn't having it. Told me that I was new and didn't know what I was talking about. Don't let it affect you. Don't take it personally. It's this person that's having the problem, not you. And you don't got to be smartass about it. Seriously. She took her roast and then asked me if she cooked it, could she bring it back for me to cut the next night. I told her, no, ma'am. I don't know how to slice those up. She insists, I watch you slice meat every day, and you won't slice up my roast. I said, no, ma'am, I'm new. I don't know how, because your roast will have to be cut to your specifications, and I'm not sure whether to cut against the grain, with the grain, or what. She then relaxes, accepts my answer, and says, thank you. I think you're probably the only person in this whole town that knows their job. What? You just told me I didn't know how to do my job. What changed? I was stunned. The crowd of people cheered, actually. I didn't want them to do that because I was thinking about her feelings. They were complimenting me all over the place on my people skills, how they wouldn't have tolerated her for a second. Honest to God, that hurt my heart. It did, to hear people say that. About 2 years later, in Well, my church, they always went out into the communities. They would find several houses, several homes where people were at that maybe they needed yard work done, they needed a roof repaired, gutters, whatever. So I was on one of these helping committees, and well, we went to this house, and it was hers, the lady from the deli. She was out bringing drinks and stuff, and my first thought was, I need to avoid getting too close to her proximity. But when she saw me, she cried. I didn't know why she was doing that. She apologized for the way she treated me. Now 2 years had gone by. I told her that's okay. We all have bad days. She said, no, really. I really was treating everyone so badly. My husband passed a while back. I've been living with fear. I felt vulnerable and as if everyone or anyone would find out I was alone. The way you treated me, even though I was being really mean, it touched me somewhere deep inside. I'm going to start going to church. I want to go to your church because if there are more people like you there, I want to be there too. I said, look around. We're all God's body. We're being his hands to help you today. She then hugged me again. She did come to church. It started out ugly back at the deli, but turned out beautiful. Many of my unhappy customer stories are similar. Listen, respond quickly to correct the problem. Do not argue. If the conversation is too hot for you, the customer is aggressive with their words, they're triggering you, whatever the reason, keep your composure. Excuse yourself politely by saying nicely, I want to go get the best person to handle this situation. Maybe I'm not qualified, or something like that. That gives them power. And when they're yelling and things, that's what they're trying to get is power. Once you give them that little bit, they usually tend to check back a little bit because now they feel empowered, okay? Sometimes when people are approaching an institution such as a fast food restaurant or something, and they're the only person there, they're by themselves, they're not with another person, it can be intimidating to them to see 5 or 6 people behind the counter that may disagree with them or not hear them. So you find that someone, you tell them quietly what is going on. You don't make a big deal of it. And you send them into the lion's den. And the lion's den, I mean, is where this lion, this customer, is potentially going to strike out and start all over again. So that person is calm and cool. And when the next person comes out there, you approach with acknowledgement of their concern. Oh, so-and-so told me that da-da-da-da-da, this is a problem, and I'm here to help you. Let's see what I can do to help you. And find the very best remedy to the situation. And then you ask them what you can do for the situation. And don't just throw something in their face. Don't just tell them what you're going to do. No. Because remember, they still need to feel empowered. Because if they don't feel that, they're going to take it. Now I'm on the other side of the counter. This is a whole nother story. I'm a customer. And my husband and I went through the drive-thru and we ordered our food and we parked up in front of the parking lot to eat. I received mushroom and Swiss burgers with bad mushrooms. They stunk pretty bad. So my husband says, "I'll give them here. I'll take them back in and get new ones." I said, "Okay." Because we'd never had any problem with this restaurant before. It was the first time. So he goes in to tell the manager, and the manager gets hot and goes nuts, yelling at him. Throws money at him. Now, if you've ever been to a place and you've paid with your debit card, they usually have to put the money back on your card, and you have to wait. This manager evidently didn't know that. He takes cash out of the register and he throws it on the counter towards my husband. He then tells my husband to get out of the store and never come back. So my husband comes out to the car. He tells me this story and I'm like, "Oh, come on. You must have done or said something to set this guy off. Did you say the burgers weren't acceptable in a nasty way?" He said, "No, I just said, I think the mushrooms have turned and my wife bit into hers and it's pink in the middle." My burger was pink in the middle. Then the guy started yelling at him, saying that wasn't true, took the bag, threw it in the trash, told me he had made them himself and there was nothing wrong with them. So then I asked my husband, "Well, did you ask him to check them out before he threw them in the trash?" He said, "Yeah, that's when he opened the drawer, threw the money, and told me to never come back." Well, thinking there just has to be more to this story, I decided to go in. And I asked for the manager. I wasn't crappy. I didn't have a mean look on my face. I was actually smiling. And he yells at me, "What do you want? I'm busy." Okay. I understand busy. I asked if there was a problem. Did my husband disrespect him that he's banned from this restaurant? He screams at me to get out of his store and to never come back. Seriously, I'm for real. I honestly thought, I felt like I was in like some kind of Twilight Zone, I swear. I honestly thought he was going to come across the counter after me. I really did. He was that fired up. So, people, let's get it together. Listen when we can, so more will stop feeling like they're all alone. Suffering something? No, you don't have to be a psychiatrist or therapist to just hear them out. Oh, yeah, about Matt, the manager at Hardee's restaurant. Well, of course, I contacted corporate, and of course, they gave me free food tickets. Ugh, as if I would ever return to that place ever again, right? But about 2 weeks ago, all alone, I went inside. He was still working there. Surprise, surprise. I ordered, he took the order and my free meal ticket, and then he said, "Would you like that upgraded?" Now, on the coupon, you absolutely cannot do that. But he did. He upgraded it for free, so okay. My meal was good, and I sat there watching because I was eating in the lobby, right? In the lobby. And I sat there watching everything go on. And he wasn't yelling at anybody. He was treating everybody nice, customers and employees. So I pulled out my receipt and I wrote him a note that read, "Thank you for allowing me to sit and dine in your lobby. The mushroom and Swiss was delicious, and I hope that going forward we can continue a professional encounter type relationship." I signed my full name and drew a smiley face. And when I took it up there, I wanted to hand it to him directly. Now, he was busy in the back like he had been that evening. And I watched his body language, and he was a little frustrated. But I also watched him check himself, and he walked up and he stood way back from the counter. I don't know if that's just his way or if he was afraid of me. And I said, I have something for you. And he goes, what? And I handed him that receipt. And I said, would you please read that? And he read it, and he just looks up at me. He was speechless. And he stuttered a little bit. He said, thank you. I said, you're welcome. So I believe that reacting in ways that may seem unusual, by remaining courteous despite what they're acting like, make good choices. Don't stand and argue or pull out your camera. Please stop spreading the negativity and drama. You know, everybody wants to bitch about it, but nobody actually wants to do anything about it. To me, those people just pathetic. Throw them in the ocean or something. No, not really. But yeah, that's pretty low. I'd say treat people how you want to be treated, but some people just don't care how they're treated. I can't use the word respond in kindness because a lot of people may not know what that means. Every situation is different. Every circumstance may be different. Use your judgment. Hopefully it's good judgment. Like and subscribe if you want more of this content. My videos range from the bizarre to the funny, to the serious, to the offensive. Yeah, whatever mood I'm in, that's what you get. Everything's good, guys, and have a happy day.